Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel once again. Kenroy here. Thank you so much for stopping by once again. Now in today's video, I'm going to be talking about something that we all can relate to, and that is what your parents don't tell you before becoming an adult homeowner. Now on my channel, as you know, I talk about personal finance, property investing, as well as DIY projects. Now the reason for this is to actually encourage you to strive to your goals, whatever they may be. And I hope that the information that I am providing is beneficial to you. So if that's the case, please don't forget to subscribe to this channel, as well as hitting that bell notification so whenever I upload a weekly video, you'll be notified. And of course guys, don't forget to like this content if it has been beneficial to you. Now I'm so grateful and thankful to you guys. Because of you, I've now hit over 300 subscribers. I want to say thank you so much for all your support. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming on this journey with me. And as I continue to grow this channel, I hope that I'll be bringing you much more content that will help to enhance your life. Now I'm going to be giving you 5 tips today of things that our parents oftentimes don't tell us when we're young, you know, when we're thinking about our futures. Now these are some things that will really be so beneficial to us. And if only someone would have sat us down and told us about it when we were young, this would help us so much to achieve so many of our goals in life, rather than just waiting and hoping for the best. Now I was fortunate enough to have parents that would show me the right things in which I needed to do. Now I'm so grateful for the parents that I had, because you know, they were so inspirational to me. They really pushed me and showed me things that I needed to consider, you know, while I was still young, and that has really helped me so far in my life and my journey. Now I'm not where I want to be just yet. However, I'm slowly making progress there, and I'm forever indebted to all of the hard work and the dedication that I was shown as a youngster. Now guys, I'd love for you to stick around to the end of this video, because I'll be giving you a bonus tip which I think will be really beneficial to you. So one of the first tips I'm going to share guys is start saving early. Now, how many times have you heard this before? Perhaps you have, perhaps you haven't, but regardless, I think that this is a fundamental principle to which we can all benefit from. And the good thing about this is that even if you haven't been saving from an early age, it's never too late to start. Now, even if you don't know exactly what you're saving for yet, I definitely encourage you to do so, because it's always a nice feeling to know that you've got some money saved up for in case of an emergency, or this would help you on your journey to becoming a homeowner in the future. Whatever money you save now is money that you won't need to save in the future. So if you're a parent guys, I would definitely say to you, start thinking about teaching your children how to save. It doesn't matter how small, you know, it could be just their pocket money, whatever it is. Now is the time to start saving. Don't just put it off and say, I'll do it when I get older. You know, when I go off to university, when I start my first job, then I'm going to start saving. Because the reality is that for every pound you save when you're younger, it will mean one less pound that you have to save when you're older. Can you imagine if you actually started saving from, you know, a child with a savings account, and you were putting 10, 20 or 30 pounds in there a month? Over the years, that will actually add up. And this will obviously give you a nice launching pad for when you want to think about buying your property when you get older. Or perhaps you want to use that to invest in something else. Whatever the case, start as early as possible. Now I've got 2 daughters, one of them is 6 and one of them has just turned 1 year old, and I've got a bank account for both of them. So whenever aunties or uncles or friends, you know, give them a certain amount of money for birthdays and so on and so forth, a portion of that at least gets squirreled away into their account so that, you know, it can start building a pot for them. My wife and I also have a direct debit set up, so every month out of our salary, you know, some money goes into their account, which will obviously save towards their future, so that when they become 18, 19, 20, you know, thinking about perhaps getting married or buying their first property, whatever the situation is, you know, they will already have started the saving process. And we hope that as they get older, we'll continue to encourage them. Okay, so tip number 2 guys is simply this: make sure that you set yourself long-term goals. How many times have we seen it where you sort of go through your teenage years, go off to university, maybe come out of university, start working, and you don't actually know where you're going. Now it's all well and good when you're younger, you know, going through the motions, saving up all the cash you got to buy the latest clothes. Yes, it's great to have a fresh pair of Jordan. However, it's also great to have some money saved up and actually think about what you're going to be doing long term. Now it's important for you to create long-term goals, because what it actually does is help you when it comes to planning for your future. Now, if you know me, one of my favorite sayings are, failure to plan is planning to fail. And of course, if you don't plan and have long-term goals, it's going to be very easy for you to not achieve anything that is worthwhile. In terms of long-term goals, you need to be thinking about things like, what do you want to do for a living? Where do you want to live? Are you planning on getting married anytime soon? Do you want to have children? What kind of car do you want to drive? Are you going to be buying a property? What will that actually look like? These are things that you have to start thinking about, and don't put them off and say, I'll do it when I start working. Start as early as possible, because what this will actually do is give you the appetite to achieve your goals. And the further away they are, the more time you'll have to actually plan how you're going to achieve them. So moving on to tip number 3, guys. Now this one is one that nobody told me about, and that is be prepared to move location. Now this is a very sore subject with a lot of young people in particular. Growing up in an area, for example, I'm originally from London. Growing up in London all those years meant that I had a great community around me of friends and family. The community that I've built up and was familiar with, we're talking about school friends that we grew up with, people in your local community, your church, family, all of these relationships that you have. It's very difficult to actually just think to yourself that I'm going to move away from that to a different location. However, I do understand that this may not be applicable for everyone, but I also think that, especially in the current climate that we're living in, we have to be willing to have those conversations with our young people to say that, you know what, you might have to move out of this area which you were, born and raised in, and move to another area in order to find employment, perhaps, in order to buy and be able to afford a house, a home for you to live in, to start a family. You might meet someone that lives in another part of the country that you might have to consider moving to. Now, I think that it's very important that we condition our children to know that it's okay if you have to move. Of course, it has its own challenges, but there can be a lot of benefits from this. Take, for example, myself and my wife. 2 years ago now, we moved from London. Something that we never thought was going to be possible. We always wanted to live in London, or at least very close, because of the communities that we were a part of. But suffice to say, guys, 2 years on, we've moved to the West Midlands and we're absolutely loving it. Do we have any regrets? No, because we are actually enjoying this new community that we're building here. However, if my parents were to say to me, in order to have the lifestyle that you're looking for, be prepared to move, it would have definitely helped me to come to terms a lot quicker. And potentially I could have moved a lot sooner and, be much further ahead on my journey in terms of my goals than I currently am. So this is one thing I think that we can definitely do more of, and that's have that conversation with your child or a family member, whoever it is, and just let them know that it is okay to move outside of wherever it is that you originally come from. Now, tip number 4, guys, is a big one in my book, and that is owning your own home is more than just having somewhere to live. Now, what do I mean by that? Now, a lot of people, especially in the big cities, may never end up actually owning their own home. Now, of course, that doesn't make you a bad person, and it's not the end of the world, guys. Come on. But I say this to say many parents need to do more in order to encourage their children, to aim high and have dreams and aspirations of owning their own home. Because of course, we know that owning your own home brings you a lot of security. Guys, it also gives you a great sense of accomplishment to know that you've worked so hard, to buy your own home that is entirely yours. Of course, you're going to need to work and pay for it, but at the end of the day, it's also a fantastic investment. When you think about how much money you can pay over a lifetime with rent, wouldn't it be much better to know that all of those monthly payments, at the end of it, you'd have a house which will be worth far more than you originally purchased it for as an investment. Now, this is a conversation that I think that we all need to have with our children, encouraging them to aim high and try their best to obtain their own property. Now, perhaps as a parent you don't own your own home, and that is perfectly fine, but that doesn't mean that you can't be that encouragement for your child to aim high and try to do what perhaps you haven't done. And so, when they grow up, maybe they'll have children of their own, they'll be able to leave that legacy behind. So hopefully after you've encouraged them to buy a property when they're older, when they become adults, they too can keep that cycle going and encourage their children, and so on and so forth. Now, my 5th point, which I think a lot of parents don't actually talk to their children about, is how do you want to spend your retirement? Now, of course, when you're a child, the last thing you want to think about is retirement, right? But I think that as you get older, it's important that parents, should actually talk to their children about what they want to do when they retire. Of course, nothing is set in stone, guys, but if you've got an idea of what retirement actually is, then you can start planning for it. You can start thinking about what you would like to do. You have to start asking questions like, do you want to retire early? This is something that I definitely would love to do, which is why I'm trying my best to put things in place right now. And that's the next question to which we need to ask. Are there certain things that I need to do when considering how I would like to retire? When you think about it, a lot of people talk about retirement when they're close to being retired. But the reality is that from the moment you normally start working, you start paying into a pension pot, you've already started planning for your retirement. It's just that a lot of time we don't actually put a lot of thought into how we actually want to spend that retirement. Now, I recently spoke to a friend who is close to retirement, and she actually said to me that she's not sure what exactly she's going to be doing once they're retired. So once you've finished working and you no longer need to get up and do your 9 to 5, for example, you've got to be actively thinking about what you'd like to do when you wake up in the morning, no work to go to, perhaps the children have moved out and gone their separate ways to start their own families. What are you going to be doing? And I think that a lot of that planning needs to start from early. Like I said before, perhaps there's things that you need to be considering, like before you reach retirement, like will you be paying into a pension pot, a business, stocks, shares, whatever it is. You need to start thinking as soon as possible so that if it's a case where you want to retire early, you'll have all the plans in place to make that a reality. Now, thank you so much, guys, for sticking around until this point. Really appreciate it. And I hope that this bonus tip that I will be giving you now will be something that you can use in order to help you achieve all of your goals. So my bonus tip, guys, is simply this: learn from those around you. Look at people around you who are achievers and try to see what you can learn from them. Try to emulate some of the things that you've seen that they've done successfully. Don't be afraid to approach individuals and ask them, how did you do this? How did you do that? And hopefully they'll be able to give you some of that knowledge for free, of course, so that you can use it in order to achieve your goals. Try to ask questions from, those around you who are achievers to see what they have done in order to achieve their goals. And hopefully you'll be able to learn some valuable tips and points from them that will help you along your journey. Okay, I'm gonna leave it there today, guys. Thank you so much for all your support. And at the time of recording this video, like I said, I've passed 300 subscribers, and that's all down to you. So thank you so much. Now, if you're somebody that's a homeowner, I'd love to hear some of your tips on how you made your dream into a reality. Also, guys, what kind of things did you learn from your parents that helped you along your journey to becoming a property owner? Please let me know in the comments below. As always, guys, you guys have been terrific. Thank you so much. This is Kenroy saying, I'll see you when you see me. Take care.